The first rule of billionaires? Never mix business with emotions. Aria Cole and Daniel Vaughn broke that rule the moment they walked into the same boardroom. She was bold, unpredictable, the kind of woman who built empires overnight and never looked back. He was precise, controlled, the kind of man who calculated 10 steps ahead and never lost. For years, they were rivals. Then one deal forced them to work together. One argument turned into tension. Tension turned into something neither of them could control. And somewhere between power plays and late-night negotiations, they stopped fighting each other and started fighting what they felt. Because in a world where everything has a price, what happens when the one thing you want isn't a deal you can negotiate? Please like and subscribe to the channel for more romantic stories. The first time Aria Cole and Daniel Vaughn spoke, it wasn't so much a conversation as it was a collision, sharp, polite, and entirely unavoidable. It happened in a glass-walled boardroom overlooking a city that never seemed to rest. Their companies had been circling each other for years, competing in silent, calculated moves, acquisitions, partnerships, innovations. Everyone called it a rivalry. Aria called it predictable. Daniel called it necessary. "Ms. Cole," Daniel said, extending his hand with a calm confidence that bordered on infuriating. "I've been looking forward to this." Aria shook it, her grip firm, her smile measured. "Have you? That's interesting. I've been trying to avoid it." A flicker of amusement passed through his eyes. And just like that, it began. Their first official collaboration was forced upon them by a merger neither of them had fully wanted, but both were too strategic to refuse. The deal promised global dominance, or at least something very close to it. What it didn't promise was ease. They disagreed on almost everything. Aria believed in instinct, in bold moves that disrupted markets overnight. Daniel believed in precision, in slow, deliberate growth that ensured nothing slipped through the cracks. Meetings became battlegrounds. "You're too cautious," Aria said one afternoon, pacing in front of a digital presentation. "By the time you make a decision, the opportunity is gone." "And you're too impulsive," Daniel replied evenly, not even looking up from his notes. "You mistake speed for strategy." She stopped pacing. "And you mistake hesitation for intelligence." Silence followed. Then, unexpectedly, Daniel smiled. Not smugly. Not arrogantly. Just, genuinely. "I suppose," he said, finally meeting her gaze, "that's why they put us together." Weeks turned into months. Somewhere between late-night strategy sessions and early morning flights, the tension between them began to shift. It wasn't softer, exactly. Just, different. Aria noticed it first in the small things. The way Daniel always ordered her coffee before meetings, black, no sugar, without asking. The way he listened. Truly listened. Even when he disagreed. The way he never interrupted her, even when she interrupted him constantly. Daniel noticed it too. The way Aria's confidence wasn't arrogance, but certainty. The way she cared about the people behind the numbers, employees, partners, even competitors. The way her laughter, rare, but real, made the room feel less like a battlefield and more like something else. Something warmer. It happened one evening, long after everyone else had left. They were alone in the office, city lights flickering below like distant stars. A deal had just closed, one of their biggest yet. The kind that should have felt like victory. But instead, there was a quiet stillness between them. "You were right," Daniel said suddenly. Aria glanced up from her laptop. "About what?" He hesitated. That alone caught her attention. "About taking the risk," he admitted. "I wouldn't have done it your way. But, it worked." She studied him for a moment, then closed her laptop. "That's a dangerous thing to say," she replied lightly. "I might start thinking you trust me." "I do trust you. The words landed heavier than either of them expected. Aria's breath caught, just slightly. "Careful," she said, softer now. "That sounds like the beginning of a very bad business decision. Or a very good one." Their eyes met. And for the first time, neither of them looked away. After that, things changed in ways neither of them could quite define. Meetings became conversations. Arguments became debates, then discussions, then, occasionally, laughter. They still challenged each other. Still pushed, still resisted. But now, there was something underneath it all. Something unspoken. Something neither of them, two of the most decisive people in the business world, seemed willing to define. The night of the gala was supposed to be just another obligation. A celebration of their merger. A room full of powerful people, polished smiles, and carefully chosen words. Aria stood near the balcony, needing a moment away from it all. "You're avoiding your own event," Daniel's voice came from behind her. She didn't turn around. "I prefer to think of it as strategic repositioning." He stepped beside her, leaning lightly against the railing. "Of course you do." For a moment, they just stood there, side by side, watching the city. "You clean up well," he said after a pause. Aria smirked. "You're not so bad yourself. Try not to let it go to your head." "I'll do my best." Silence again. But this time, it wasn't empty. It was full of everything they hadn't said. Aria finally turned to him. "Daniel." He looked at her, waiting. She hesitated, a rare, almost impossible thing. "I don't," she exhaled softly. "I don't know what this is." "Neither do I," he admitted. That should have made things easier. It didn't. Inside, someone called their names. Another speech. Another appearance. Another reminder of who they were supposed to be. Aria glanced toward the door, then back at him. "We should go in," she said. "We should." Neither of them moved. "After tonight," Daniel said quietly, "everything changes." Aria frowned slightly. "What do you mean?" He held her gaze, something unreadable in his expression. "I accepted an offer this morning," he said. Her heart skipped. "An offer?" "An expansion," he clarified. "International. It's significant." "How significant?" Daniel hesitated. Then, finally, "It means I'll be leaving. In a week." The world seemed to tilt, just slightly. "A week?" Aria repeated. He nodded. "And you were going to tell me, when?" "I just did." "That's not funny." "I'm not joking." Silence fell between them again, but this time, it was sharp. Unsteady. Aria looked away, her mind racing, her chest tightening in a way she refused to name. "That's a big move," she said finally, her voice controlled. "Congratulations." "Thank you." Another pause. Too long. Too full. From inside, the music swelled. Applause echoed faintly. Aria took a step back toward the door. "Come on," she said. "We have an empire to run." Daniel didn't follow immediately. "Aria," he said. She stopped, but didn't turn around. For a moment, the world held still. Then, slowly, she turned to face him, her expression unreadable, her answer balanced on the edge of everything they had built, and everything they had yet to risk. And just as she opened her mouth to speak, the doors behind them swung open, and someone called her name. "Aria. They're waiting for you." The voice snapped through the moment like a thread pulled too tight. She didn't answer. Didn't move. Her eyes stayed locked on Daniel's. "If I asked you to come with me," his words echoed, quieter now but no less certain. "What would you say?" For once in her life, Aria Cole, who had negotiated billion-dollar deals without blinking, didn't have an immediate answer. Because this wasn't about strategy. This wasn't about winning. This was about choosing. Inside, the applause grew louder. Someone else had taken the stage in her place. The world, as always, kept moving. But out here, everything felt suspended. "You're asking me to walk away," she said finally. "I'm asking you to decide what matters," Daniel replied. Her jaw tightened slightly. "My company matters. So does mine. And you're leaving it." "I'm expanding it," he corrected gently. "There's a difference." Aria shook her head, a faint, incredulous laugh escaping her. "Of course there is. There's always a difference with you. And there's always a risk with you." They stood there, one step apart, years of rivalry and months of something far more complicated between them. Then Daniel took a small step closer. "Come with me," he said again, softer this time. "Not because you have to. Not because it's logical. Just because you want to." Aria searched his face, as if trying to find the flaw in his argument. But there wasn't one. And that terrified her. "You don't even know what I'd be giving up," she said. "I do," Daniel replied quietly. "Control. Certainty. The life you built exactly the way you wanted it. And you're asking me to trade that for what? For something we don't fully understand yet." She let out a breath. "That's not a very convincing pitch." "No," he admitted. "It's not." A pause. "But it's the most honest one I've ever made." Aria looked past him, out at the city. Her city. The skyline she had helped shape. The empire she had fought for, piece by piece. Everything she had ever wanted, was right there. And yet, her thoughts drifted to late-night conversations, to arguments that turned into laughter, to quiet moments that somehow meant more than any victory she'd ever claimed. To him. "You're leaving in a week," she said. "Yes. And if I say no?" Daniel held her gaze. "Then I go. And we continue exactly as we are. Rivals. Partners. Almost something more." "Nothing changes?" she asked. A flicker of something crossed his expression. "Everything changes," he said. "We just pretend it doesn't." That did it. Aria turned fully toward him now, closing the distance between them. "For two of the smartest people in the room," she said, her voice low, "we've been remarkably bad at this." Daniel's lips curved slightly. "At what?" "This," she gestured between them. "Whatever this is." "Agreed." She studied him for one long moment. Then, "You're wrong about one thing," she said. "Oh? I wouldn't be giving up control," Aria continued. "I'd be choosing differently." Daniel didn't speak. Didn't interrupt. He just waited. Inside, the music shifted again, slower now, softer. The kind of melody meant for dancing. For celebration. For endings. Or beginnings. Aria took a breath. "I built everything I have because I didn't want to depend on anyone," she said. "Not partners. Not luck. Not feelings." "That sounds like you," Daniel said gently. "But somewhere along the way," she continued, ignoring the comment, "you became the one variable I couldn't account for." He exhaled softly. "That sounds like you, too." She almost smiled. "Almost. And I hate variables," she added. "I know." Another step closer. Now there was barely any space left between them. "But I hate unfinished business more," she said. Daniel's voice dropped. "So what are you saying, Aria?" She looked him straight in the eye. "I'm saying," she began slowly, "if I come with you, it's not as your partner in business." His breath caught, just slightly. And not as your rival, she added. Then as what? He asked. This time, she didn't hesitate. As the one person who can challenge you, match you, and still choose you. Silence. Real silence. The kind that settles deep. Daniel let out a quiet laugh, disbelieving, relieved, something in between. That's a very Aria Cole answer. Take it or leave it. Oh, I'm taking it. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then Daniel reached for her hand, slowly, as if giving her time to pull away. She didn't. Their fingers intertwined, natural and certain in a way nothing else had ever been between them. You realize, he said, this is a terrible idea. Absolutely, Aria agreed. We're risking 2 empires. Minimum. And our reputations. Already damaged, she said dryly. He smiled. And you're still coming with me? She met his gaze, steady and sure. Yes. From inside, the doors opened again. Ms. Cole. Mr. Vaughn. The board is asking. Aria didn't even look back this time. Tell them, she said calmly, we'll be there in a minute. The doors closed. The noise faded. And just like that, the world gave them one more moment. What happens now? Daniel asked. Aria tilted her head slightly, considering. Now, she said. We go in there, finish what we started. And then? She squeezed his hand. Then we rewrite the rules. Together, they turned toward the doors. Not as rivals. Not as reluctant allies. But as something entirely new. And as they stepped inside, into the lights, the expectations, the future waiting to be shaped. Aria leaned closer, just enough for him to hear her next words. By the way, she said softly, a hint of mischief returning to her voice, you still haven't told me where we're going. Daniel glanced at her, a spark of that familiar, infuriating confidence in his eyes. Does it matter? He asked. Aria smiled. For the first time, she said, no.